Hello and welcome to the open house tour of TrackSmart Time and Attendance Record Keeping Suite. I'm Helene Coppell, your TrackSmart Product Manager and Tour Guide, and joining us on the tour is Alex Duran, TrackSmart Guru and Customer Success Champion. Before we get started, we have a few housekeeping notes. If you have any questions during the presentation, please enter them into the chat box on the left side of your screen, and we will answer as many as possible at the end of the presentation. Should you have sound issues, please be aware that the audio is dependent on the stability of your internet connection. If you have any trouble hearing us, please send a message through chat and we'll help you out. One more thing, we'll also email a link to the recording of this webinar within the next couple of days, so if you miss anything, you'll have another chance to catch it. Now, on to our tour. Today, we're going to show you around each of the TrackSmart applications, attendance, scheduling, and TimeClock, and highlight the main features that help you take back your time. But I'd like to first give you a quick history lesson on how these came to be. TrackSmart launched as a simple attendance tracking calendar in 2010, and over time, it grew into the robust TrackSmart Attendance solution you see today as a direct result of customer feedback and suggestions. After learning that some of our customers were trying to make attendance behave like a staff scheduler, we realized there was also a need for an easy employee scheduling app, and so we added on what is now known as TrackSmart Scheduling. Soon after that, we noticed that the time clock feature on scheduling was actually a main attraction for some of our members, and with that, TrackSmart TimeClock was born, and there you have it, the TrackSmart Time and Attendance Record Keeping Suite. Now, to use any of these apps, you'll first need to sign up and log in. So from TrackSmart.com, you can sign up for a free trial on any one of these apps by sliding through the main area on the home page. Or you can just click on either of these to get to those apps. So, after you've signed up, to log in, you'll see two menu items in the top right on the home page, Employee Login and Administrator Login. Click on the right one for you. And if you're not sure, here's the hint. If you're the one that signed up for the free trial, you're the administrator. If you got an email from someone at your company inviting you to use TrackSmart, you're an employee. So when you click on either of these, you'll see that it'll ask you, which application are you using? So just select the right one. Okay, so let us start with TrackSmart Attendance. I want to briefly start with employee profiles because without having employees in TrackSmart, you've got nobody's attendance to track. So with profiles, we've given you a lot of informational fields so that you can take advantage of a paperless personnel record-keeping system as a bonus to your attendance tracking. This is also where you will set up self-service permissions that you'd like your employees to have, but we'll talk more about the employee self-service features in a bit. By the way, your privacy and employees' privacy are very important to us, and we will never use your employee information for marketing purposes or share their information with any other entity or communicate with them directly for any reason other than support. Okay, let's move on to the calendar. TrackSmart Attendance uses a central calendar to record all absences and events. There are lots of different absence codes you can use, such as illness, vacation, jury duty. We've even got tardy or left early. You also have many event codes like birthday, anniversary, performance review, or company holiday. We also will provide you with some important business compliance dates. Here on the left, you can search and filter either by individual employee, employee name, or department, and select just those you'd want to see on the calendar at that time. You can also filter by the type of event. So if you only wanted to see absences, you would just deselect the rest of the types of events. If you would like to record a new absence or event, all you have to do is double-click on any date or select the icon with the plus sign at the top of your calendar. So here's what a calendar entry form looks like to start. You'll see that you've got a drop-down to select your employee or all employees. You can select the reason, which is your list of absence and event codes, and all the details that go along with it. Bear in mind that based on the code or employees you select, the fields might change to fit. So for example, if you select birthday, you don't need to deduct any paid time off, so the info related to time off banks will disappear. Or if it's a company holiday, you'll have fields that let you add holiday hours to employee timesheets. Now let's go back to the calendar. After you complete that entry form, you'll see your new absence or event on your calendar. When you hover over an item, you will get details about the event. You don't actually need to even click and open it up. When you hover over it, you can get the details, so that's a time saver. Also, if you do click on it just once, it will appear over here. There's typically a detail list that gives you more details. To edit an absence or event, you would just double-click on the item in the calendar, or there will be an edit icon with that detail that I just mentioned over here. Okay, let's talk more about employee self-service, which is our most popular TrackSmart Attendance feature. By granting employees and supervisors permission, you can let them handle many tasks on their own. We mentioned earlier that you can set up an individual employee with self-service permissions in their profile. And right now I'm showing you where you can set up a group so that you can set up a group of employees all at one time. And this is a great route to take if you used an import feature to load all your employees but didn't want to set up the permissions one at a time. From the Employees menu at the top, you would go to Self-Service Permissions to create your group. We've actually given you a couple of default groups, which is Employee All Access or Supervisor All Access, which basically would give people in that group access to all the features available. So let me also make a mention here that for an employee to be invited to use self-service, there must be an email address in their record, because that's what they use to log in and where they will get their password mailed. So you'll see here all the permissions available. They could submit time off requests, timesheets, update their own contact information and emergency contact information, view a company scheduler report, which lists all employees' time off, scheduled and pending, and the view of the company calendar. Let me also mention that when they are viewing the company calendar, they cannot see the details for the other employees. It keeps that part private. But this way they can see when other people are out, so it might prevent them from submitting a time off request on a day they're not allowed to take off because their teammate is off. The supervisor only permissions. The employee must be designated in their profile as a supervisor. There's a field to check for that. And they can manage employee requests. meaning they can approve or decline the requests for the employees assigned to them. They can do the same for those employees' timesheets, or they can update their employees' contact information. From here, if you've set up this group, your employees or supervisors would be listed over here, and you would select the people that are assigned to this group, and then click Save and Send Invitation. The employees or supervisors will receive an email with login instructions letting them know you've invited them to use TrackSmart. It will have their password in there, a link to the employee self-service website, employees.tracksmart.com, and then they can get started. By the way, if we now go back to an employee's profile, in the Permissions tab of the profile, you'll see that you now have a drop-down with all the groups you've created. So when you're setting up a new employee, you don't have to hand-pick each item for self-service. You can just place them in a group and then click Send Invitation. As a reminder, they must have an email address in their profile in order to take part in employee self-service. We've got a full-length webinar available in the Help Center, by the way, that goes over all the employee self-service features in detail. For now, let's just take a quick look at the most popular one, which is available with all plan levels: Core Track, Flex Track, Power Track, Power Track Plus. Let's look at the employee time off requests. After logging into the employee self-service site, employees would go to the time off request page. You can see that this is where they would submit a request. If they're a supervisor, they can review requests as well. So on the Submit Request page, you have the form where they can select the reason, and that is your list of absence codes in your account, the dates. It will default to the number of hours in a day that you have placed in your preferences, by the way, and I believe we'll be going over preferences in a bit. But they are free to change that. So if they happen to set it up for a Friday through a Monday, it'll add up to 32 hours. They can just change that to 16 and in their comments tell you it's just for Friday and Monday. But I recommend, if they're going to overlap a weekend on days that are normally business is closed, to just do two separate requests. So they can add any comments, and if they need to send a copy to somebody, then they can enter additional email addresses here. By default, it will go to the administrator, and if the supervisor is set up with Manage Requests permission, they will also automatically receive a notification that the employee submitted a request. So they can submit the request after that. What they also have available on this page is information about their time off banks. Lets them know how many hours they have available and used already, and they can see a history of their past time off requests. As long as the date has not passed, they can just click on that date to cancel a request if they need to do so. As an administrator or supervisor with permission, you'll receive an email that the employee has submitted a request pending your approval, and you also will see a notification when you log in. This is what a dashboard looks like for a supervisor. You see they have the list of their employees, time off requests pending approval. They can just click through on this link to go take care of those, and if they have any timesheets pending their approval. And by the way, all the employees have this bottom section. So a supervisor is an employee too. So down below, you see they have all their time off information right there at their disposal on the dashboard and the current week of their timesheet. Since we are not going into too much detail about the specific features, I want to just show you quickly in the main menu everything that's available. You'll see that all employees who have the permissions can submit time off requests and see that page I showed you before. There's timesheets, which is available with FlexTrack and PowerTrack plans. And they will have the option to enter either total worked hours for the day or in-out times, and that is based on your settings in the Preference Center that we'll show you later. They can see the company calendar. I keep saying with permission, but bear in mind it's all based on the permissions you've granted this employee who's logging in. Contact and emergency contact information, and their own set of reports. We'll talk about reports later as well. Here is what the pending request looks like. So administrators and supervisors can get to the time off request review page from the calendar, or they can individually open a pending request from that calendar. So here on the fields, you'll see the employee who has submitted the request with the department, the reason, which is the code they selected, and you'll see that you have the ability to enter or edit this field if the employee, for some reason, has selected the wrong one. The dates, the number of hours. There are some default time off banks selected based on the code, but you have the ability to choose which time off bank it comes from. You know your business policies, so you want to make sure that this aligns with how your business operates. You'll see there's a field for you to enter any notes if you want to record it. Now, the employee receives a notification once you've approved or declined it. If you want to add a message for that email, you can do that here. You'll also see when it was submitted, any comments they entered when submitting it, and to help you review it, you'll see how much time off they have in their banks and who else is out or may have requested out at the same time. Approve and decline from here. As a reminder, supervisor permissions are available with FlexTrack and PowerTrack Plus plans. Since I mentioned a supervisor may approve this request with permissions and with a FlexTrack or PowerTrack plan. Okay, here's what I mentioned earlier. Another helpful area is the preferences, where you can customize TrackSmart Attendance to fit your business's needs. You can select the absence codes, which is the reason why your employee is absent, event codes, the time settings. Now these settings define how time is displayed in your absence entries, whether it's days or hours. Some people track by days rather than hours when they're tracking paid time off banks. It hits your timesheets, your calendar summaries, and reports. You also have your time off plan set up. It lets you set up the plans that are used to calculate how the banks come up with the time used and remaining numbers. Record keeping fields. You can choose any combination of the record keeping fields to add to your employee profiles. With absence codes, event codes, and the record-keeping fields, based on the plan you have, you may have a limited number of codes and fields you're allowed. With PowerTrack and PowerTrack Plus, you have unlimited, so you don't need to select and deselect. You can use them all, or to just keep your list simpler while you're working in the application. That might be another reason why you would turn some of those fields or events and absence codes off. Your timesheet settings, your work week, and overtime, these settings are related to your timesheet, such as what's the first day of the work week, how should we calculate overtime, and whether you want employees entering total hours or the in-out times for the day. By the way, when you are on a free trial, you are using the PowerTrack plan. If you're not sure what you have, you see that you have your plan listed right here. And to compare what features comes with which plans while you're logged in, just click on the Resources menu item at the top and you can compare all plans. With your free trial or a paid PowerTrack or PowerTrack Plus plan, you can create a more customized time off plan where employees accrue or earn time off over certain time intervals rather than having their full amount made available at the beginning of a year. Enter a few details to fit your business and attendance does the rest. So in that time off plans section of preferences, you will click a button that says add a new plan. Let me show you this step one. You can name your plan, give it a description so you remember some meaning behind it when you're assigning it to employees. And here is where you'll set up. You'll see that you can create levels. For a business like ours, for example, we earn at a certain rate when we first start here, but after 5 years, we earn a little more. So this allows us to create one plan that will change over time. That's what these levels are used for. You can choose when it starts. Does it start on the first day the employee begins at your company, or do they have a 90-day probation period? That's your start date. When do they start accruing time off? What's the schedule? In this example, the employee accrues every week 1.8 hours on Fridays. When does the new benefit year start? Many businesses start at the beginning of the year. Some have a fiscal year, or some say everything starts over on the employee's anniversary date. You'll have those options. Does time carry over from year to year? If I have leftover, will it carry over, or is it a use it or lose it? And if it does have a maximum balance, you can assign that here. In this example, we have 2 levels my company uses. Actually, would have multiple levels after that after 10 years. You can keep adding new levels if that's how your business operates. You'll see a summary below, and then you would continue through the process where you can assign it to the employees, review your details, and move forward. Now, accruals can be very complex, but we do have a full-length, in-depth webinar on how to set up your accrual plan available in the Help Center in the TrackSmart Attendance section under Accruals and helpful webinars and videos. I'll show you more about the Help Center in a bit. And by the way, a customer success coach is happy to walk you through this if you need some hand-holding. With all the information that attendance manages for you, it's easy to stay on top of things. Reports. With a few clicks, you can see a full month's time off schedule, run timesheet reports for payroll, get a transaction report for all the time off used and earned. Maybe one department seems less productive lately. Run an absence detail report for the department to see if you have an attendance issue there. So you would click on reports from the top menu, then you would select the report that you need to run, and you'd be provided with a list of filters to choose the types of employees or the departments, whether they are active or inactive, and date ranges. You get to choose all of that. Employees and supervisors have a similar menu of reports. They just have a smaller list, and more details are kept private. Most of these reports have an option for PDF or CSV. You would want to use the CSV option when you need to sort or filter in a different way than appears on screen, or if you want to rearrange your data, such as formatting the timesheet detail report to fit what your payroll provider is asking for. Tying this all together is the Employee Self-Service mobile app. Employees can connect from any smartphone or tablet, so there's never an excuse for not calling in sick when they can just use their mobile app to put in a time off request for that day. The mobile app is free and available for both iPhone and Android with a paid TrackSmart Attendance account. You'll see they have the same permissions as the desktop version and can handle some quick basic tasks. They can request time off, submit a timesheet, or update their contact and emergency contact information. If you need more how-tos for TrackSmart Attendance, there's a full-length video available in the Help Center called Getting Started. TrackSmart Attendance. Now we're ready to move on to TrackSmart Scheduling. Here is your other tour guide for today, TrackSmart Guru and Customer Success Champion, Alex Duran.
Well, thank you, Helene. Again, my name is Alex, and I'll be showing you around the TrackSmart Scheduling and TrackSmart TimeClock apps. First of all, welcome to TrackSmart Scheduling, which reinvents you how you manage your staff scheduling. Instead of struggling, planning shifts manually, you can create schedules in just a few clicks. Now, I would suggest that all members, once they sign up for their TrackSmart Scheduling or TimeClock, to please take a look at at your settings. Set up your account settings so it can be easier to use later on when you're ready to use the features and options that TrackSmart Scheduling has to offer. Now, scheduling is located on the top right-hand corner where the word settings is shown here. Sorry about that. There you go. Now, once you click on settings, you will have the options to set up your org and schedule, your organization and schedule, time clock, overtime and max hours, breaks, locations and departments, positions, and billing. These will be very handy once you start, setting up your employees and also setting up your scheduling. So let's go into employees now, okay? Just like TrackSmart Attendance, we suggest to enter your employees first before you start creating your schedule, so you won't be going back and forth when you finally start creating your shifts and schedule. Now, to add an employee, from the dashboard, you'll just click on the employees link on the top right-hand corner. It will bring you to a blank employee page. Here, of course, you can add just your basic information like your employee's name, email address, mobile number, their title if they have anything, an employment ID, some notes if just in case you wanted to write anything about the employee. You can also select what type of employee this employee is, whether it be full-time, part-time, salaried, or volunteer. You can also add their hourly rate and their max schedule hours that they can work. On the right-hand side, you can see if you can select if this employee is an administrator. You can set up to have this employee maybe manage certain employees and departments. You'll see all the departments are here. Where can this employee work? In which positions can this employee work? Now again, I just want to remind you there is a getting started video with the how-to in our health center. I know Helene has stated this earlier, but trust me, that has saved and also helped a lot of our members, locate and also set up some of the easier tasks and features that these programs have available. Now, after you set up your employees, the first thing you want to do is, of course, is create your shifts. It's easy to make work schedules you can save and use again and again. You can schedule a shift at a time or use the auto schedule feature to generate a schedule based on an employee, availability, and job skills. Now, schedule is located, of course, on your dashboard once you click on the schedule link on the top right-hand corner. And like I stated before, you can go ahead and create your schedule. You can create your schedule by clicking on a date, which I'll show you in a second. You can actually copy a schedule if you have a previous schedule that you have already set up, either here or also by clicking this middle button. Now, once you create your shift and you set up your shift, you can also auto schedule, which is a time-saving button. It is an awesome feature that a lot of members are using now because they can have a different rotation of employees. Now, once you do set up a schedule and then you're ready to publish or submit it for all your employees to receive, there's a big publish button right here. Now, if you don't see the schedule that you created, or if you clicked on auto schedule and did not like the schedule that I provided for you, you can always click on the clear schedule button that's located here on the top. Right? And of course, members can also always go to do multiple schedules by clicking on the location and departments button here on the top left-hand corner. This will allow you to create different schedules for different locations and departments. Very useful also. Now, to add a shift block is very easy. It's by just clicking on the date that you want to create your first shift, and of course, just go ahead and preview the fields. Just add the fields. You'll be entering a short name of the field, so say example morning shift or afternoon shift. If it's a restaurant, you want to put maybe breakfast crew, or if it's a car company, you may want to put salesman, morning sales or afternoon salesman or mechanic. Of course, you want to set the time that you want to go ahead and have your workers, and of course, how many people do you want to fill that shift? You can put a minimum of, say, example, one person, or a minimum of 6 if you need that shift to be covered by more people. We do give you the option to add an address to that shift. A lot of customers or members that we have, they have used this. A lot of reasons just because it just belongs to what their industry is. And of course, once you're done, you have the option to either save the shift and use it again, and then add the new block. Once you have added the shift, it will look like this. Now you have all your shifts that you have created, and you can reuse them over and over again. Now you can start scheduling by just selecting the date and just selecting the shift that you want for that date. Now, once you have dropped the shift onto that date, you just have to just click on the shift itself, and this box will appear. This will show you all your employees that can work this shift or position if you assign positions. And also, you can see some information here on the right-hand side as far as like how many hours they're set up already, the cost by scheduling this employee, their hourly rate, if you set up any tags in the employee profile. Now, you can always edit your shift from this box here. You can change their color. You can select how many open shifts are available. And you also put tasks and notes, say, for the employee or for other employees that are going to take this shift. Say, example, morning crew, please make sure everything's cleaned up before customers come in. You can always edit the shift itself and also delete the shift if you accidentally clicked on it. Once you go ahead and select the employee that you want or the employee that you want to work for the shift, just click on Save. Now this is how a full schedule will look like. Now you have your shift, you have your employees, and of course you have the name of the shift itself. Again, once you're done, you can go ahead and publish your schedule. This will allow the app to go ahead and email all your employees that have an email address and have submitted an invite to receive their schedules. They will receive their schedules via email and also on their mobile device. They'll see their schedules. Now, if you do make a mistake and you want to add a different shift or you want to go ahead and add another employee, you'll just go ahead and republish so everybody will know or get an updated shift. Now, you can also view labor costs for each employee and by week when you click on the labor cost tab on the bottom of the scheduler. Having this handy at a glance view of labor costs without waiting for a clunky software systems to run allows you to stay within your labor cost budget and avoid dipping into your overtime bucket. This is located underneath your schedule. Now, I want to explain to you, of course, that once you click on the labor cost button under your schedule, you can view all the employees that have been set up for that schedule or for that week or for that month, and you can see exactly how much those employees will cost you for scheduling them on that schedule. Now again, it will show you the dates that they're scheduled, which employee, what shift they're working in, how many hours are they getting paid, if they have any overtime, and how much it's going to cost you for scheduling them for that day or that week. If you notice, it's broken down by days to help you go ahead and get a correct and accurate calculation of how much it will cost for the employees to work that week or month. Now you can also run a report to see total shifts and schedules for any date range to create a custom view based on your specific business needs. You can see total hours employees are scheduled, if there are any are scheduled for overtime, if there are any potential gaps in staffing. To view your reports, all you have to do is click on the reports button on the top right hand corner. Now the types of reports that you can run, of course, they'll be listed here on the left hand side. They are, of course, shifts, scheduled hours, time clock, labor cost, and time off. Of course, if you want to run a payroll report, it'll be under time clock under payroll. Now let's take a look at TrackSmart TimeClock, which is an addition that we have created, just basically new. Members that have TrackSmart Scheduling Plus plans or higher will also have the time clock feature at no additional cost. It's our way to assist you to have your employees' time tracked for a more accurate payroll report and to show true clock in and clock out times for an employee. But we will show you this feature in a minute. Administrative managers and employees can submit time off requests if they need to take a day off or just go on vacation. Also, members can submit recurring requests if certain employees can't work on a specific day or time. This is also useful if one of your employees goes on the FMLA leave and would not be back until a certain date, or goes to college and needs a certain days or time off to attend classes. Please be advised that administrators or managers' time off requests will be automatically approved by the app, since typically they don't need a request to be approved. Administrators, managers, and employees can also click on the time off link on the top right hand corner to get to this page. Of course, what we're viewing now, you're actually viewing a time off page for an administrator or manager. As you can see, all the employees are listed here on the left hand side. You can create a single request, or like I stated earlier, a recurring request. Okay. Like Attendance, TrackSmart Scheduling has a complimentary mobile app. Your employees can use it with any smartphone or tablet to see their schedules, clock in or out, or swap shifts from anywhere or anytime. That stops those phone calls from your employees asking, "What time do I work?" It also makes it easy to communicate shift changes. You can go ahead and get the TrackSmart Scheduling mobile app by going into your either Android store or your App Store and looking for TrackSmart Scheduling. Now, please make sure that you're looking for TrackSmart Scheduling, because we do have other apps, and of course, TrackSmart Scheduling and TrackSmart Attendance and TrackSmart TimeClock, they look similar if you don't click on the correct one. We want you to make sure you're clicking on and downloading the correct app. Just like I said before, members can see the schedules for today, who's working today with them or with a schedule, and they can actually contact their employees. So say, for example, if I need to call Carly here, I say, "Hey, Carly, can you come in an extra 10 minutes early?" I can either call her or text her. Another great feature is employees can, again, see their schedule. They can submit a time off request or a recurring request. And of course, managers and administrators can see any pending time off requests. Now let's go into TimeClock. Let's move into TimeClock right now. TimeClock lets your employees use any computer or smartphone as a time clock. That means you're no longer tied to one device or one physical location. It also lets you see who's clocked in and who's not from anywhere, anytime. This is perfect for businesses with multiple locations like retail and restaurants, and for remote workers at home or at different job sites. The big advantage, of course, is keeping costs down. There are no expensive equipment to buy. You don't have to use any or replace special ID badges. What you get is more accurate records. Again, just like TrackSmart Scheduling, we always suggest that members set up their time clock settings so members can go ahead and use this program without going back and forth. It is located, of course, your settings on the top right-hand corner. Okay. And it's also located on your dashboard when you click on time clock. You can also go to your time clock page from there. There, of course, you can always, once you click on time clock, you can always clock in. You can see the time that you clocked in and what location you're clocked in to. Here you can always add, once you clock in, you can add notes, enter any mileage that if you're a remote worker that you get paid per mile, or your company goes ahead and pays you for any miles that you have traveled, you'll be put in there. And of course, you'll see your recent clock in records. Now, as an administrator, you can see who's clocked in. You can also manage their time records, employee's time record. Meaning if an employee goes ahead and says, oh, I forgot to clock in, but I was here at 8 o'clock in the morning, you can go ahead by clicking on Manage Time Records. You can go ahead and manually override or clock them in. And from here also, we did give you the option to either run a report or export your time records. TrackSmart TimeClock also lets you run payroll reports. You can export your records and submit to any payroll record-keeping system you use. Simply input a start and end date, and it reports all scheduled hours for easy payroll processing. Again, to reach the report section, just go ahead and click on Reports on the top right-hand corner. It will take you to your reports page. Here you can select from the time clock section, either payroll, approved hours by day, time record data. You can also run a report by shift. There are scheduled shifts, unscheduled shifts, coverage level, their scheduled hours, which will be the employee hours or employee hours by location, by labor cost, and you can do also a time off report. Here on the right, you can enter your pay period start date and their end date. And you can also look either by individual employees or all your employees. Now, once you have clicked on these fields, you have the option to create a report, which will be a PDF. You can either view it here or view it as a PDF. Excel. You can actually print it out if you need some paper copies or you want to give your employees a paper copy. All the employees' data will be here, of course. You'll see their work week, the employees, and of course their total. If by any chance you need to go ahead and edit any overtime settings that you may have, you can always click here on this Edit Overtime Settings button, which will go ahead and organize those settings for you. Now, TimeClock makes you more efficient. With the app for smartphones or tablets, employees can clock in and clock out and keep track of time off when they're on the go, all without calling or interrupting you. Now again, just like TrackSmart Attendance and Scheduling, this app, TimeClock, is available in the Android App Store and also the Apple App Store. And again, please remember to look for the correct logo when you're downloading the TrackSmart TimeClock app. Again, the TrackSmart Attendance and TrackSmart Scheduling, they look similar. In the TrackSmart TimeClock app, you will see that the employees can always clock in, they can select the department, they can view their recent time clock records, they can actually clock out, and of course add a note saying, hey, this job took longer than expected, worked a little overtime. They can enter their mileage, or they can actually cancel their clock in. So if they accidentally clocked in early, they can actually come here and just cancel their clock in. Again, I want to make sure that everybody that understands that just like scheduling, TimeClock is available for any plus plans or higher. So just like scheduling, you do have a plus plan and higher, premium and enterprise. In TimeClock, you will have the same options also. You have plus, premium, and enterprise. So that is going to be available if you need scheduling and TimeClock or TimeClock and scheduling. It just flips around. But if you only need TimeClock, just select the basic plan and that would suffice for you, or vice versa. Now back to you, Helene.
Thank you. This brings us to the final portion of today's presentation, and that's to let you know that we're not just interested in supporting you as our customer, we're committed to your success. As a customer or potential customer, you'll have a designated customer success coach at your disposal. Your customer success coach is like a hybrid between a tech support guy and a time and attendance consultant. Whether you've got a question or several questions, can't figure something out, need a little help, these guys have your back. Your coach is not just here to answer emails. He or she is ready to talk to you on the phone, walk you through the app, make suggestions on how to make the best use of your account, and take advantage of all the features in a way that fits your business. Even if you've just got a question about managing employee time and attendance or a compliance issue that you've read about, call the customer success coach who's ready to help. If they don't know the answer, we have a full staff of HR and labor law compliance experts here that we can rely on. So here's the number on your screen. You can call a customer success coach at 877-457-4855. You'll talk to an actual real-life person to get your help. You can also email us at support@tracksmart.zendesk.com. We'll be emailing these contact details out shortly, so don't sweat it if you don't have your pen and paper out. Okay, by the way, if you want to browse through commonly asked questions, you can search topics from a dynamic library 24/7 in the Help Center. Also, here is where you'll find the TrackSmart member community. Put this link up here. It's a forum filled with questions and answers, ideas, suggestions, and more from one of our best resources, the folks that are using TrackSmart apps every day. We encourage you to visit the community and share what's working for you or which enhancements you'd like to see us add. If there's something you feel would help you out that TrackSmart doesn't feature today, let us know. We've got an idea bank. And the majority of the features developed on TrackSmart actually came from our customers, believe it or not. Well, that's going to do it for the tour. Thanks for letting us share it with you, and we hope you enjoyed it and learned a little something. So we'd like to open the floor for questions now. So let me take a look at what we've got, and feel free to reach out to us, the number on your screen, and our customer success coaches aren't afraid to call you either, by the way. So if you have questions, send them through the chat on the left side of your screen. Let's see what we've got so far. What happens if someone forgets to clock out in scheduling or time clock? Either one.
That's an easy one. As a manager or an administrator, you can actually clock them out. Or, like I stated earlier, you could set up your settings for time clock, and you could actually have, if they're scheduled for a specific shift, you can have it automatically clock them out either 5 minutes after their shift, 10, 15, 20. That would be a time saver for you, and also we'll go ahead and clock out that employee that forgot.
Right, so that's when you have the schedule aligned with it, if you're using a schedule. Is there a way to put in lunches and breaks? I'm not sure if that's on attendance. Well, you want to talk about timesheets for attendance and then time clock.
Well, for timesheets and attendance, you will have to pretty much manually enter the time in and time out. I would suggest to do that. That way you can see it when you clocked out for lunch and then clocked in from lunch.
And that's in the preferences. You would need to have it, your time settings set up for time in, and your timesheet settings to be set up for time in and time out, so that they have two entries. They would put their time in, time out for the break, then time in again.
Time out. That's exactly right.
No, go ahead.
For scheduling and time clock, there is a, like we noted, every scene on the settings, there is a section to set up breaks. You can set up your break rules there to say, okay, for every X amount of hours, I'm going to give you an example. For every 8 hours, you have 30 minutes. You have a 30-minute break, or for every 4 hours, you get a 30-minute break. So it will go ahead and show on your reports, and also show on your labor costs how much, if it's an unpaid or paid break.
We have been a TrackSmart customer for a couple of years. Why can't we see the time clock? We are on a power track plan.
Well, the reason why you can't see the time clock is because if you're using our TrackSmart Attendance, right now, even though there's 3 products or 3 apps, they're not unified as one yet. So you're looking at each product as an individual product. So if you need time clock, you have to sign up for the TrackSmart TimeClock program. Please feel free to go into TrackSmart.com and sign up for a free trial, and we'll be happy to go ahead and assist you with that. But please remember, as of right now, those are considered 3 separate apps living in one suite.
Right. So you can sign up for a free trial, and if you are interested in getting that time clock, you can probably speak with a customer success coach who I'm sure can offer you a discount for having more than one app. Can we see where the employee is clocking in from?
No. That is another product idea that has been given to us by our members. Unfortunately, admins or managers cannot see where employees are clocking in from because it doesn't have a GPS feature on it yet. That is something that our tech team is working on for a feature enhancement. We suggest if you want to pretty much stop or want to use a specific location, that of course go to settings, and under time clock select a computer or a time station at your workplace that employees will clock in from only. That will allow them to clock in only from that computer or that time station or that tablet.
There was a follow-up question that can it be required to clock in from a certain IP address? Yes, in your settings there, when you are setting up the location or the time clock station, it actually sets the IP address that they can clock in from. And you can change your settings in scheduling and time clock to prevent employees from clocking in anywhere except those stations you've set up. You can turn it off from clocking in from their phones or from anywhere else outside of the terminals or stations that you set up in your settings. In attendance, can there be more than one level of approval? For example, supervisor approves and then the administrator. We don't have this available today, but as we mentioned, the majority of our features were developed as a direct result of our customers telling us what they needed. So please go into that community and put your idea out there. And the more people that request it and vote for it, the higher it becomes in priority for us. Great idea. In scheduling, there are break rules, but I couldn't see where you can set a specific time for a break. Can you do that?
The only place that you can set a specific time if you set it as a shift. Unfortunately, it'll just add, when you go into the breaks under settings, it will only ask you at a certain number of hours how much paid or unpaid time are you going to give the employee. If you're saying, if you're, for example, saying, hey, I give Tom, he needs to go a break at 12 to 12:30, that would be considered a shift. I have other members that this suggestion has worked perfectly for them. I would just enter that as a shift or a shift name, say example, Tom's break, and just put from 12 to 12:30. That way, and that way you don't have to set up or put an employee under that, and they don't have to be considered as a labor cost.
Does the time clock round to the nearest quarter hour?
The time clock will go from the time you clocked in to the clock out.
Does it round? No, it goes the exact time.
If I punch in at 8 a.m., I punch out for lunch at 1:30. I punch in again to 2 o'clock.
What if it's 2:03?
If it's 2:03, you're clocked out at 2:03.
Do the reports show mileage records only? I'm not sure if you're looking for a report with mileage separately.
No, it won't show just only. It won't show the mileage just only.
You can export to CSV and just remove whatever data you don't need.
Exactly.
That's what we recommend.
That's what we recommend.
Are there any plans to integrate attendance and schedule employee databases? That is in our secret lab, so don't tell anybody. I cannot give you a time frame right now, but it is something that we want just as much as you guys probably want. We'll let you know. And that is all the time we have for questions. If we did not get to your question, we will follow up by email. A customer success coach will get in touch with you to answer your questions. Feel free to reach out for us. And thank you everyone again for coming to the open house and for your wonderful questions. So until next time, happy tracking.
Thank you.